and welcome yet to another session. It's our third session for this semester, 2022. It's not exactly a bright and sunny day today, but we give God thanks and praise for his creation. It's a rainy day in Trinidad at the moment. I'm wondering, is it raining where you are, ladies, in Trinidad? Is it raining? It's raining in the south. From Trinidad here. What about other places in the Caribbean? Is it raining? Guyana, St. Lucia, Suriname. How's the weather?
We're getting some responses in the chat. So.
In the chat, okay, great. It's sunny in Guyana.
Hot. It's hot in Guyana.
All right, great. Lovely. That song is so inspiring. It's by Spelman College, a private college in the US. As we can see, predominantly Black women. Very, very inspiring. The change begins with the choices that we make, okay? And we can be that change. So this topic today is about teen dating and relationships. And again, it's about choices, the choices that we make, which will influence our life, okay? Present and future. So guys, I just want to acknowledge the Unitrust Corporation for their support this year, making this program possible. I want to thank our director, Mr. Michele, for his support, and all our partners in the various Caribbean territories. And also in the US, we have girls from the United States as well as South Africa. Thanking our partners in the United States as well. So it's going to be an exciting session today. Very interesting, sensitive, and touchy topic. Looking forward to it. We have two special guests with us this morning who will be taking over that topic in a short while. And at the end of the session, we will have our mental health check-in as usual. We have our ambassador from Dominica, Ms. Deborah Charles Mark. Right, guys, so let's go into our session. So we're going to introduce, we have Maria and Sionne. So they're both going to be taking over this session on teen dating and relationships. Over to you guys.
Let me just introduce myself. So good morning, everyone. Good morning, girls. It's such a pleasure being a part of this initiative, right? I am Ms. Sionne Abner, and I am an educator. I have been an educator for 15 years, right? This is my 15th year. I teach mainly boys. I teach boys, teenage boys, but I have two daughters of my own. And so I hope that what I've seen, my insights into the opposite gender, what I've known, I've observed so far, as well as just my affinity for young people and this particular age group, would bring some kind of wealth of knowledge to you on the topic, right? From both perspectives, as mother, as educator, right? Being very familiar with this age group. So I hope that you all can listen. I hope that you all are very willing to interact, to answer, ask questions. I'm sure Ricardo will support me if anything comes up in the chat and let me know. The topic this morning is dating and relationships, from what I've been told, right? Okay, so being an educator, being a teacher, I love comparisons, metaphors, extended metaphors. That's the way I like to frame whenever I talk or I reach out to people. So I'm using a very age-old one this morning, the idea of the journey, all right? And I'm calling my brief talk the roadmap. All right. So in terms of dating, I want us to think of it like a journey. Think of it like you are venturing out, right? Somewhat into the unknown. All right. And you're deciding then on your destination. There's certain things you do before you even leave the house if you're going out. All right. And so it's important then, before you even begin, to establish what exactly am I trying to get done? Where do I want to go? What is my purpose for wanting to venture into this thing called dating, into a relationship? And I want to say that is really important to before you even set out. You must do the work. You must be in the right headspace. You must value yourself. You must see yourself and see how much you've invested in yourself Right. So like I was saying, you need to be in the right headspace. You need to think about yourself as a priority that you have invested in yourself. Think about it individually on your own right now. How have you invested in yourself thus far? Right? You should be thinking along the lines of perhaps education. Perhaps you have worked on your personal, your social skills. Anything that you've done to develop yourself up to this point, you have invested in yourself. And so if you see yourself, therefore, as an asset, as something that has, as someone who has been invested in, even by others, then you are in the right place to begin now venturing forward into dating, right? Why do you want to date? Is it just attraction? Yes, that's normal, that's natural. But you should see dating too as an opportunity to put yourself out there, an opportunity to let others get to know you, but also for you to know yourself and to discover important things about yourself before you become an adult or before you go out into the very wide and open world. So see it too as an opportunity and have that well established before you start venturing into the actual process of dating. So you're at home still, if we're looking at this journey, you are deciding on your destination. You're doing the mental work, right? You are making sure that you are centered before you head out into this particular venture called dating, right? And then, of course, you are aware of your worth, you are aware of your investment, and you're seeing dating as a way to add value. This is going to benefit you in terms of your personal growth as well. So you want to really be empowered as you go forward, right? The other thing, as you establish and you're getting yourself now to leave on this journey or to venture forward on this journey, is to think about who's going to support you. So girls, who supports you? If you think of yourself as leaving, you're going to leave the house, right? Very seldom at your age, as a teenager, you just leave the house. Usually there is somebody to see you off, somebody to say, you have this, you make sure you have your passage, as we'll call it in Trinidad, your money, you know, you eat. So you need to have that support. So dating is not something very much that like a journey that you would just venture off on your own without any sort of preparation or groundwork, even without support. So who supports you? And you have to establish that support. And usually it's your parents, right? It's usually those people who are responsible for you. So you establish your support, but you have to also engage with your support, right? You have to reach out, you have to find out what their boundaries, their expectations of you would be as you go forward in dating. So if you notice, we're trying to approach it in a very empowered kind of way, right? You take the initiative. You find out from those responsible, your parents, your guardians, what do they expect of you? And what are their expectations or what are their permissions even with regards to dating? Now, some people, every household is different, every religion is different, every parental unit is different when it comes to dating. Like Ms. Claxton said, Simone said, it is a very touchy topic for many people. So you have to work with what you have. You have to work with your parents. I think one of the mistakes teenagers make is working against, like, I'm rebelling. It's time for me to go out. It's time for me to meet guys. It's time for me to, you know, socialize, and I'm doing this, rather than try to work within the realm that you have, the paradigm that you have. So how many of you, I don't know if I can see in the chat, are your parents strict? Do you think they're very conservative when it comes to dating? Do you think you would have resistance if you indicate that you're ready to go out to interact with the opposite gender? Feel free to type, let me know. Because in the Caribbean, we tend to be a little bit conservative with regards to that. All right, and you do need to have that conversation with your parents, right? Yes, I'm seeing Janae saying she has strict parents. All right, so how do we deal with strict parents? Books before boys, I'm seeing that, and I hear that a lot. That's very, very conservative Caribbean mindset. And of course, you know, your parents want what's best for you. So my little hack, I know in this age, we talk a lot about hacks, life hacks. Like I said, you work with your parents. Sometimes you have to start off very small. You might have the group setting. Your parents might prefer that. It might be church, it might be lessons, it might be some format where you get in a group to interact with the opposite gender. So generally, you might be able to work within that. I'm seeing a lot of strict parents, right? So the way to really build is to start small. Sometimes if you follow the rules rather than rebel or try to break the rules down before you begin, it builds confidence in your parents. They see, okay, my mom is okay with me having a phone call, a few conversations, maybe they can come to the house, I could have a group of friends, inclusive of some boys, maybe we could have a very chaperoned or supervised line at home. So you have to work with your parents. They are responsible for you. And maybe the more you show a respect for their rules, the more you show you're willing to work within the parameters they set, it can build over time some sort of confidence to venture into whatever format of dating they're comfortable with. All right, girls? Yes, I have my goals to follow and to your right. So of course, we know goals, we've established goals. So you know that if you're going forward into dating journey, you have that in the back of your mind. You're seeing yourself as an asset and you're putting yourself out there to build, to establish, you know, to explore within a very, very secure kind of way yourself and how you relate to other people, keeping your goals in mind. I love that. All right, good. So we're working with parents, we're respecting their rules, we're trying to build within what they allow us to do and to show them that we have the responsibility maybe to go forward later on or when they're more comfortable. All right. Some parents prefer group dating or group environments and before they're able to deal with the individual kind of permissions, right? One-on-one. So you establish your support, right? Back to our journey motif, our trip. We're leaving the house. Mommy's away. Now, before I even could think about asking to leave the house, I would have to make sure my chores were done, or my bedroom had to be tidy. I don't know if you all can relate to that. Before I even think about asking to go to the mall, where's must wash, right? Everything must be spick and span. So if you can think of it like that, think of your dating journey the same. You have to make sure that everything at home is okay. Home is you. You start with yourself. Like I said, you do the personal work, you do the work in terms of your mindset, your purpose, the destination that you are aiming for before you even venture out. All right, good. Any questions? Anybody doesn't agree with that? You're looking to date, look, just jump out, date. Do you all see that you need to have yourself in a certain mindset going forward into this thing we call dating? I hope you all could appreciate that. All right. Okay, so company, let's talk about that journey, that trip you're heading out. You have options, right? In terms of, is it one-on-one? Like I said, some parents very, very much too strict to venture directly into that. But then you also have the group ideal, group setting. So let's talk a little bit about the company you would have on this journey called dating. All right. You have choices to make, varieties ideal. Right? If you do go out, try to choose a variety of places, try to choose a variety of settings, things that you can see people in different lights, right? It's not only, okay, I'm seeing a question. Oh, that is, yes, daddies are usually very, very, very overprotective. But perhaps what I suggested might help in terms of working within, I mean, you can even talk about boys around him. What about mommy? Maybe bridging that gap with another adult that daddy seems to respect their opinion and could probably placate him a bit, you know? And you have to start small. My advice would be to start small. It's hard to speak about boys around him, but maybe you have to start somewhere, you know. Having the hard conversations, initiating it probably with your mom or someone nearby, right? But you want to include daddy there too. It's not a conversation you want to turns into just me and mommy will talk about this and she will handle daddy, you know. So I would suggest having mommy around, but trying to have those hard conversations, beginning to start those conversations with daddy, right? As you go forward. I don't know if that helps. I hope it does. Right. So you also might see your parents involved with preferring having friends nearby and friends involved, but it's not just about your parents. Friends are an advantage to you as well. So there are advantages to venturing first into the group ideal, right? With friends provide support, positive reinforcement of your core values, right? They can give you valuable feedback. Sometimes temptation might come up and it's your friends. If you have aligned yourself with a certain kind of friend, which I'm sure would have come up in previous sessions, friendships, relationships, all your relationships are important when you're going into dating, right? Those are the relationships that support you and that can offer guidance and offer your parents also a sense, a bit of confidence in letting you build going forward into your own maturity and responsibility, right? So friends are really, really crucial. You want them around, you want them in on it. Sometimes there are things that they might see that you mightn't see, right? And they give you feedback, you know, I find he kind of answer a certain way, you know, when you were ordering, he was a little bit rude, you don't find so, and kind of bring little flags, little red flags up that maybe, you know, you mightn't be willing to see, right? So I think maybe if your parents allow or prefer group dating and the friendship dynamic, friends dating, then I think there are positives, and rather than see it as a setback, you work within the parameters and see the better part of having friends and other people around in your first little baby steps in the dating at least. And saying, Ricardo say maybe daddy could chaperone if, yeah, that's a really good idea. Include daddy. Say, daddy, we need you around. We're in a group thing and we want you there. I want you there, right? So I could feel safe, etc. And there's no pressure. Excellent, excellent suggestion coming from a guy. Yeah, that's a good one. Good. So, and then of course there's solo dating. Some parents are more comfortable with, or are okay with solo dating one-on-one. And it allows you more insight. But girls, I want to appeal to you to see what's in front of you when you're solo dating. Now you're going to learn about the other person, but you're going to, as I said before, learn about yourself. What are your dislikes? What's your conversation style? What are your preferences in terms of your social interaction with people, with other people, right? With the opposite sex. But there are other things that will happen when you see this person interacting with other people and with the wider world. And you get a sense of the personalities, types that you appreciate that they might respond to, their etiquette, right? How they treat other people, right? And so those are the things that you want to really capitalize on when you're out, when you're dating, when you've reached as far as going out, whether it's chaperoned or not. But it really is an important time to see and to discover not just the other person, discover them in the context of how they relate to other people, but also discover a lot about yourself. And remember, this is an investment, another step in you investing in yourself, right? So very important. So you're on your trip, you have left the house, you're driving, your vehicle is sound, you've done the work, everything is ready, good to go. And my other advice is to slow down, right? You're living a time where it's a lot of consumerism, even attached to dating. So slow down, enjoy the view, right? You wouldn't go all the way up to Maracas. It's not a race. You want to see the hills. You want to see, the greenery. You want the scenic view. So dating is a time where you also have to take your time. And I wouldn't go into detail, but in all regards, take your time, right? This is not transactional. You're not a commodity. You don't have to share out or give out anything beyond what your consensual agreements and your personal goals are aligned with. So take your time. You know why you're doing it. And that's why it's important to establish at the start, why do I want to date? And what's in it for me? And once you're clear on those things, once you did the work before you ventured out the house, then everything aligns and everything flows easily beyond that. You will take it slow. You will try to get the benefit out of it rather than just this consumer swipe left, next date, somebody else, and just not really taking the time to get the value out of the process of dating. All right. So slow down, enjoy the view, get the benefits of this particular journey. Right? Don't rush past some of the valuable life lessons that you get from dating. Be selective. Every request is not, you don't have to answer with a yes, all right? So it's your time to be a little bit selective as well. And of course, there's road safety, as I would put in my journey metaphor. You have boundaries, you have consent, lifelines. I saw recently on TikTok a girl saying that she had codes with her parents. Mom, if I message during the line, I forgot to take out the garbage, it means I need you to come and get me. I need you to just drop what you're doing. I want out and I can't wait. So maybe these are things that you could talk to your parents, especially the overprotective daddies, that things are in place for you to indicate with whether you're safe, whether you're comfortable, and whether you would like them to intervene. And in the age of the cell phone, it's even easier to reach out to your support systems, all right? But you have to establish them, which is why it's important to include your parents in your dating journey, right? Right, so I'm saying my mom had to meet all my friends before I was allowed to hang out with them. Yeah, that's the kind of mom I am too, so I am down with that. All right, and that's excellent. And that gives mom a certain amount of comfort, right? But even in a situation as it unfolds, teenagers, you all need to know that things might happen that you didn't predict or prepare for. And so put things in place with your parents. You may not want to call mommy, come and get me, big makeout scene, but you can send a little text in your own little code as to, hey, get me out of here, I am not comfortable. And when they see you doing things like that, it builds confidence that in them that you know right from wrong, and you know when something is beyond your ability, and you can reach out and ask for the support. So in terms of your road safety on this journey, safe words with parents, your cell phones, trusting your instincts, which is important, reading people, seeing and getting a sense. And if you get a bad feeling, being able to pick up on it and see it through. Rain emoji, Kado. I don't know, for those in Trinidad, I don't know if y'all have ever heard about Vex money. The older ones, we would know about it. Anybody ever heard about that term, Vex money? Yes, Miss, good. I'm seeing Risha saying yes. So Vex money is important for girls, for women especially. I think we're in an age where there is a lot of independence. We are not financially dependent per se, but it's something that all mummies and aunties and big sisters taught us. Having your Vex money, if you fall out, if there's a disagreement or whatever, you must have your things in place, your finances in place to be able to leave and to be able to get home in case things go wrong. So I just wanted to remind us of that age-old tradition of Vex money. And of course, with your generation, things like splitting the bill, etiquette, dating etiquette, can be established. Make sure and have those conversations with your date, with your group. How are you all going about those things? And it tells you a lot about people too, and their ability to share, to participate equally right? So it says a lot too about the character of who you're going out with, right? So more and more you'd find that kind of equal approach to dating. Either way works, but these are things that you learn and you sort out. And of course, you build on those things. Those are things that you learn going forward in all relationships. So it really is good to get that practice in dating as well. All right. So I think I've covered the basics. I know that Ms. Maria is going to continue in terms of more of the specifics of dating and the interactions, etc. But I really want you all to see it, as I said before, as something to benefit you, something that you can benefit from, something that can empower you. And if you venture into dating with that kind of mindset, then it only builds you, and you're going to emerge as you get older. You'll be an adult who has so much experience dealing with other human beings, especially of the opposite gender. And the lessons are valuable, all right? And makes you a stronger, more empowered woman and person. Okay, girls? I'm seeing when you walk with your vex money, if you're allowed to leave, if you don't like, yeah, it gives you that sense of independence. You are not dependent. How I reach it home? I don't even know where I am. You have your cell phone and you have your vex money. So yes, definitely agreeing with that comment. All right. Okay, so I will pass over. I'm so sorry, I will work on my camera in the meantime. Hopefully, at least before the meeting is done, you all will get to see my face a bit. Sorry about that, girls.
Thank you so very much, Sionne. I don't think it could have been said, any better. It really is a journey. Dating is a journey. And as we all know, before we go off into any journey, we always prepare, before we leave the house. We have the support, as Sionne said, parents ensuring, have you got your bottle of water? Do you have your money for transportation? You have your phone? Did you take your vitamins? Things like that. So it really is a journey that, we really have to be prepared for, and take our time along the way and enjoy it. Don't rush to get to the destination. And before you set out on that journey, know, where you're heading, why you're heading there, what's in it for you in this, dating or relationship field. What do you want to achieve out of it? And does it line up with your goals as well? Because if you have goals that you want to achieve and you're going down the dating or relationship road, does not line up with your goals, you will be off track at some point in time and you would not reach your ultimate destination. So it really needs to line up. So ladies, take your time. Obviously work with your parents, build their confidence, and it's a journey that you both need to walk together. Okay, so I really love the angle Sionne took that from. So we're going to have Maria now, and we also have the perspective of a male, obviously, because we're dealing with dating and relationships. So we will have Mr. Ricardo Michele, pitching in from time to time to give us his perspective, as a man, what did, the dating field is like, and how you girls could prepare yourselves to be winners in the journey of dating. Okay, over to you, Maria.
Hi, I'm not sure if you'll see me properly, if my video is also sticking. It looks as though it's stuck on my end. But yeah, so hi, I'm Maria Lewis. Nice to meet all of you girls. Pleasure to meet you all. Yes, so I run my own business. I do creative work, especially film, acting, and corporate communications and PR. But today I want to just, launch off from what Sionne spoke on, which I really, really love the practical tips that she gave you all in terms of dating. Very, very integral. And I hope you all paid attention to what she was saying, especially for your own safety and for your own protecting yourself and protecting your heart going forward. What I want to stress on over the next couple of minutes, I want you all to focus within yourselves on what is best for you. What is best for you in your life. There are so many things, I think, coming at young people these days, much more than in my time. And in my time, it was a lot, but it's quadruple probably for you all right now. And I want you all to focus on what is best for you. So I want to throw out 3 questions to you, and you could feel free to think about it or write it down privately, or if you want to share it in the chat, you can. It's up to you. No pressure. But the first question I want you all to think on is, if there's one thing that you could do, one thing for the rest of your life in terms of a career, what will that be? That's the first one. The second thing I want you all to think about is, you have a circle of people that are closest to you. What are the qualities of those people that you let into your life, into your inner circle? Now, I know that there are some girls who are a bit young, so they may not be thinking about boys right now, or may not be allowed to right now, depending on how your age, which is understandable. But you are at that age where you're welcoming in best friends, right? And it's that circle of friends. And for the older girls where you're thinking about relationships, or you probably already have relationships with the opposite sex, what are the qualities of the young man that you want in your life? For the younger girls and for the older girls, what are the qualities of the best friends that you want in your life? Think about that. And the third thing I want you all to think about is, what are 3 things, and it could be more or less, that you would like to do within yourself so that you'll be an even better version of yourself? So I know I threw a lot at you, but I'll just recap really quickly. What is the goal, the ultimate goal you have? So some people may want to be an athlete. Some people may want to run their own business. Some people may want to sing, act. Some people may want to be engineers, lawyers, doctors, teachers, whatever it may be. But what is that one thing that is you? And it may be something vastly out of this world, different, that nobody may think this is sensible, but it makes sense to you. That's fine. That's your thing. What is that one goal you want to chase after in your life? And put another way, if there's nothing else in this world that you ever want to do, like there are a million things that you could possibly do, but what is that one thing that's for you? The second question, if I'm letting in a boy in my life, or a best friend, or a circle of friends, who are these people and what are the qualities that they should have? And lastly, what about me that I could do, that I could improve to be the best version of myself? I know it's a lot, but think on it. Those 3 things. And the reason why I throw out those questions to you all girls is because I hope, Sionne hopes, Ricardo hopes, and this whole panel, we hope that you want the best for yourself in terms of the goals you chase after, in terms of the people you let into your inner circle, and in terms of who you are, that person that you project and that you naturally, will shine to the world. You want the best for yourself. And we're going beyond the hair, the makeup, the nails, the whatever, not the externals. We're talking internally, because trust me, those things will fade. And after a while, they will not matter. It could be the most amazing young man that, in terms of physical looks, that comes into your life. But after spending some time with the person, you will be able to determine really quickly, is this a good person or not? And that matters for you, okay? All right, so like I mentioned, I hope that for all 3 questions I throw out at you, you want the best for yourself, the best career that's in your heart, that's yours. You want the best people in your inner circle, friends and boyfriends. And then thirdly, you want to be the best version of yourself, right? Okay. So moving on from that, what I want you all to think about, which is inevitable, is that once you set a high standard for yourself, trust and believe. Now, I'm a believer in God, and I believe that once I set a high standard for myself, it is inevitable that a lot of opposition will come my way. If I want to reach a really high goal, a really high career goal, like for me, I want to become a successful filmmaker and actress. That's a major high goal, because I'm thinking international. Usain Bolt wanted to become the best in the world. Very high goal, dream riches, etc. Really high goals. So the higher you set your bar, the bigger the opposition will come against you, right? But that doesn't mean you stop. That doesn't mean you quit in terms of chasing after your dreams. And I want to stress, and I don't have much time, but I really want to stress how important your personal purpose, your dreams are, girls, because boys will come and go in your life. Friends will come and go in your life. Trust me. It was a blink ago, I was in secondary school, and I can't believe that almost 18 years have passed since I've left school. That went by really fast. So in a blink, you will be my age soon. And it goes by really quickly. But what has never left me has been my purpose, has been my dream, right? So hold on to that, do not lose it. Because I've seen friends along the way with their dreams years ago. Oh, Maria, I have this big dream, I wanna do this. And then they realize in time, hey, this is hard to achieve. And then they settle, and then they're not happy. They're unfulfilled. And they take jobs and they stay in jobs and they stay with bosses that frustrate them, and they are not happy in their lives. Whereas people who fight, and the fight is hard as well, don't get me wrong, they fight for your dreams. It's not easy, but it is worth it. I always say to people that I haven't yet attained my goal, my ultimate goal that I want. But if, knock on wood, God takes my life from me today, I will feel much better having been in a position where I am in the process of chasing that than settling and giving up. So hold on, first of all, to your dream. Know it, pray on it if you don't know it yet, but once you know it, it is the most vital thing for you. And don't let anybody distract you from that. And when I say anybody, do not let anybody distract you from that. From parents to friends to siblings to boys, do not let anybody detract you from that goal that's in your heart, not your mind, your heart, right? And you alone will know what that dream is. But be mindful that it is not an easy thing. It is not an easy thing to accomplish your dreams. Most dreams take a long time to realize. And the longer a dream takes, the more you feel to give up. And the minute you give up, you settle and you lose the battle. So don't give up on your dreams. Similarly, when it comes to guys, right, or friends, you may think, hey, everybody has a boyfriend. I used to think that when I was in school. Everybody has a boyfriend except me. That is a fallacy. That is not true. But you may think so. So you want to hurry up and get a boyfriend really quick. Again, the same time is you. And you all, Sionne said it. Time, you're in this day and age, things are moving so instant for your generation. It's scary that everything has to be accomplished in your hands, and in your hands really fast, that the process of acquiring something is lost. Our present generation of youth, a lot of times, because of the way that technology has advanced, the process of taking time, of moving toward a dream, moving toward the right guy, moving toward the right friends, it's been cut down so quickly that, hey, get a guy in an instant, and that has been fed to you. That has been fed to you instantly. So you end up getting things that may, most of the time, be less than what you deserve. Be mindful of that. The person who is for you is for you. He is out there. The friends who are for you, they are there. They are out there. But it may take a little time, a little bit of waiting before you get that. And be patient. Don't give up and don't settle. Trust me. A lot of women, as they grow older, settle and want to get into relationships really quickly because they feel that they have to go with society's clock. Hey, I'm in my 20s. Hey, I'm in my 30s. I should be married by now. I'm in my 40s. I should be married by now. And we have situations where women and, well, guys as well, jump into relationships too soon. And the ramifications, the results of that are really horrible. And that's why, take your time. Your time clock is yours. I have a friend who is a psychologist, and she always says to me, Maria, put on your blinders sometimes. Your path is yours. Your friend's path is theirs. Your sister's path is hers. And just because you may be moving along faster or slower than somebody else, nothing is wrong with that. But go in step with yours. And that takes a lot of courage. I have written down here for you all, know your standards, know who you are, and be patient with yourself and take your time and go according to your life, your path, and don't be swayed, because it's so tempting to be swayed by the way that we see people moving around us. And it's a really challenging thing. Trust me, I know it is a challenging thing, but I want you all to remember that if things are not moving as fast for you, that is fine. That means that something even greater is in store for you. Just be patient. It will come. Pray on it. I hope if you're a believer, pray on it. It will come, right? And then, of course, in terms of finding yourself, knowing what's best for yourself, those qualities I told you to think about, what are the best qualities for yourself. Again, in your quest to find that, you may think, oh, I should be there, I should be happy, I should have these qualities already. Take time, be patient. If you are a praying person, pray on it, and you will develop that in time. And be mindful that with everything, you're not going to have good days every single day. You're going to fall down, but get back up and just keep moving toward the person you want to be. But be mindful of that. You live in an instant age. As soon as you get up, you check your phone, you get your notifications, everything's really fast, really fast, really fast, really fast. You do not need to move according to society's clock. Take your time, dare to be different. I personally do not like the word trending. It is a pet peeve of mine, because I think that the people who I admire the most, who are the people who are quote unquote trending, are the ones who dare to set their own trends, right? Just because a million different people are dressing the same way, talking to the same kind of guys, blah, 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 and they are quote unquote trending, doesn't mean that you need to adopt their style to do what they want, because by the time you adopt their style, they have switched over to something else. Trust and believe. So discover what is best for you. It may be different from everybody else, and that is fine. Do you, right? But on your quest to become the best you want for yourself, to have the best for yourself, and to attain the best goals and dreams, right? If you fall off, exactly, get back up. And so on your quest to doing the best that you can, it's going to take time 9 out of 10 times, but be patient, girls. Take your time, right? And do not settle. It may take you, like Colonel Sanders, the KFC guy, till you're 65. Do not give up, okay? Another thing that I want y'all to be mindful of, and I kind of alluded to it a little while ago, the distractions, right? And there are many, especially now. And I think it's not only limited to your generation. I see a lot of people in their 60s, 70s who are so phone buffs now. They're trying to get their attention, and they're on WhatsApp. You know, WhatsApp and all these different things, they distract you. Be mindful of the distractions, right? If you're studying, or if you are working towards something, when you leave school and you're working toward your dreams, etc. And again, with this whole thing of finding the right people to come into your inner circle, you're gonna get distracted, right? Be mindful of the distractions. They come at you, but the quicker you could identify them and focus, the better, right? Distractions in terms of guys. I have a friend who told me once, he said, Maria, the enemy knows the kind of guys you want, right? Physically. And he's gonna put that physical guy in your way to block from the real guy that God has assigned for you. Be mindful of that, right? Be mindful of that. The gorgeous looks, the height, the whatever it is you're like in mind, I don't know. But just be mindful of the distraction, because at the end of the day, I speak from somebody with experience. Looks do not matter after that, a seance. Attraction is normal, it is. But what is going to last is who you are. Who is this guy? Who are these girls who I'm letting in as my friends? And it's so easy to fall prey to, you know, oh my gosh, everybody on social media is going to see me post up with this guy or post up with these friends. And you feel good for a second. Do you really feel good deep down though? Do you? Or is it just for show? Be mindful of the distractions, right? Again, I want you to always circle back to those 3 questions. What is best for me at the end of the day, right? Okay, so I'm nearing the end, don't worry. And what I just want to say is that you have, at the end of it all, you have the choice. You choose the dreams you go after. You choose the people you let into your life. You do. They may come at you, but you're the one ultimately who will decide if to let these people in or not. You are the gatekeeper. And thirdly, you choose the person that you become. So if you set a standard of, I deserve the best for myself in every facet of my life, you are the gatekeeper, right? And something I learned, and I don't want y'all to beat up yourself because y'all are young. It took me a long time to get this, and thank God I did. I learned that for a very long time, this is a private thing I'm sharing with y'all now, with men, right? With boys, I I used to always think, what could I do to get this guy to be in my life, to be my boyfriend? What can I do? How could I do my hair different? What clothes can I buy? What can I do? And then one day I was with this person and I woke up on my birthday feeling really sad, feeling really low because things were not going very well. And then I started, and I believe in God, and I know he said, he's the one who showed me this in my head. He said, Maria, you are somebody who has traveled across the world. You have a master's degree. You have a great job. You have all these things going for you. And he lined up all of my accomplishments in one column down the line. And then he said, look at this person who he is stressing over. What has he accomplished? What is he chasing after? What does he stand for? Why are you crying? And so I woke up that morning, thank you, Jesus, with a new mindset, thinking instead, what could I do? How could I change to get this person in my life to, what does he possess that makes him worthy to be in my life? And I say that not to pump up my chest or to be haughty or whatever. No, I'm not saying that. But at the same time, I'm not saying to diminish yourself. But too often we think, how can I change to facilitate somebody come into my life? Ask the question, you are the gatekeeper. Are they worthy of being welcomed into that inner circle, that private space in your life? Many people, I think, guys, distraction is a big word for young people these days, huge. And y'all are being bombarded every which way by images of sex, images of looks, images of this, that, and the other, that, tear away from the core of you being you and being true to you and be the best version of yourself. Be mindful of that, and you have to be strong. Return to the 3 questions I asked and remember what is best for you. And once you remember that, once you're always grounded in what is best for you and what you want to let into your life, you're not going to stray. You will be distracted, you'll be tempted, but stay on that course, okay? All right, so I'm wrapping up now, and okay. So if you all have any questions, feel free to let me know. But I just want you to just remember the questions. I'll just say them one more time. What is your dream? What is your big goal? Right? 1, 2. What are the qualities of the people you want to let into your life? And this, I said, boyfriend, friends, and as you grow, it'll be people that you let into, like if you have your own company, who will be working with you, etc. Who are the people you want in your inner circle? And what are the qualities that you have within you that you want to improve on, or you want to, obtain, so that you'll be the best version of yourself? Remember that you deserve the best. And do not ever settle for anything less than that. Okay, so that is my contribution. If you all have any questions, feel free. I'll see if my video doesn't stick anymore, but feel free to let me know. Yeah. But thanks for this opportunity, guys.
Thank you so very much, Maria, for your invaluable contribution.
Yeah.
Well said. Well
Thanks.
said. Ladies, I hope that you have taken the advice from someone who is experienced. Sometimes at that age, even at mid-teens, we feel that, we know everything. At 15, 16, 18, 20, we feel that, we have all the answers and we know. But believe me, experience is the greatest teacher. Because when I look back at myself, I too thought I knew everything at that age. And when I look back now, I sometimes wonder, what was I thinking? But when I've gone through all my experiences, then you realize that, I didn't really know anything at that point in time. And even when I look back, maybe 10 or 15 years back, what I know now, I didn't know then. So as you age and you go through certain experiences, you learn, and experience is the greatest teacher. So please don't feel that you know everything at this age and I have everything under control and I know more than, the adults or the parents, around me. Be open to learning, be open to taking influence from, the adults and around you, your guardians, your parents, and, really work with them along this journey, As Maria was saying, you're not doing things to try to impress someone, but you have to see, according to what Ricardo put in the chat, how does this person align with your values, okay, and align with your goals? what do they have to offer as well? What are they bringing to the table? Okay, and not just you giving or trying. Okay, it goes both ways, right, guys? So I'm just going to open the floor to Ricardo to contribute to the topic, and feel free. It's going to be an interactive session, so feel free to ask any questions, etc. And he's going to give you all the male perspective and other stuff regarding as Maria said, there's a lot of distractions, and I mean the internet is very valuable, but a few years ago there was no internet. So persons, around my time didn't have that type of distraction. But now you have the distraction of internet, and there's a lot of distractions in that cyberspace, which, could put dating into another, relationships into another realm. Okay, so you have to be very careful, maneuvering on social media and the internet with respect to dating and the type of information that you share, pictures, photos, etc., and that kind of stuff. And the conversations that you accommodate on over the internet, the phone. Okay, so I'm just going to pass on to Ricardo. Thank you, guys.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thanks for that, Sion. Thanks, Maria. Thank you, Simone. Thank you, guys who've been commenting in the chat. So I heard a couple of things this morning, and a lot of it is good. It's really, really good. I'm going to really enjoy taking that information and putting it up on screen so that you could pause and take your notes when you watch over the video. It was a relief to hear how practical you guys are when it comes to navigating a very emotional thing. And I had all these little points I wanted to make in my head about Vex money. Now, Vex money in our time, different to Vex money in this time. Vex money in our time means you had a little 10 or 20 or $100 chuck up somewhere and it fold up nice and neat so that when you're ready to find it, you didn't lose it. So you could get a taxi, you could pay for your own drinks, you could walk out, you could find your way home. Vex money today might be making sure that the place you go has Wi-Fi. It might be putting a data plan, even if it's a one-day plan on your phone, so that if you're in transport and you realize you're not sure where you're going, you could put on your Waze or your Google Maps. It might be making sure that you could make a call if your data goes down. It might be something as simple as Googling the place that you're going to see if it's the kind of place that you want to be in. Vex money nowadays is a little different, but the same principle applies. Make sure your safety is your personal responsibility. There are people who are going to take care of you, yes, but you have to do the best that you can to take care of yourself as well. So you know what, sometimes when you're going out, maybe it's a better idea to have a little data plan on your phone than to rely on your friend hotspot, right? Just these little things when you're going out in groups, because you might fall out with somebody or you might disagree, you might get separated from the group. What I'm saying is that might be a nice little thing to keep in mind. Make sure that you could contact people, make sure that you could reach home. Because if you have data on your phone, you'll be able to get a ride share or an Uber or a pink cab. You could get one of those car services to come pick you up where you are. You don't have to storm off and go and look for a taxi or beg somebody for a ride home. So that might be what Vex money is nowadays. The other thing, I love the idea of the group dynamic. I love the idea. Oh, that is really good. That is really good, Deborah. That you could also show your current location on WhatsApp. So even if you're going home, you could share your live location with somebody so they could see if you're all stopped, if you're going off route. Right? These are just safety mechanisms that are important, not just for dating and relationships, but sometimes just might be going home from lessons or getting a drop home with your coach or your teacher. What I'm saying is these are just things that you need to apply generally. So this is a good opportunity for this. Something came to me while Maria was speaking and it made me really sad. It's not just boys who will break your heart. One of the biggest heartbreaks you might get going forward might be from your friends. One of your best friends, the group of girls that you're linemen with, that type of thing. Friends could break your heart too. we have to be careful who we invest in with our relationships. I'm not saying suspect everybody, but what I'm saying is look at the people that you're spending time with and that you want to spend time with. Do I want to be one of those people? Look at how they treat other people, because anything that you see anybody doing somebody else, they could very well do to you. Look at how your friends talk about other people. There might be a day that they will talk about you like that. And if you don't want that to happen to you, don't do it to other people. You have to decide what your value is and what your values are. You could either be $1 billion by yourself, or you could be a dollar with a lot of other dollars. You get to decide what your value is. You get to decide. So whether it's boyfriends, best friends, group of friends, your clique, your club, your crew, whatever, you get to decide. Make decisions that are going to line up with your value. Or even better, embrace your value so that other people will want to line up with you. I will tell you, it's uncomfortable sometimes being the person in a group who disagrees. But in time, the right thing will always last. The right thing will stand. So then you will find that people who might have disagreed with you early might come back to agree with what it is you were saying and doing. Right now, it is important for you guys to have friends, to socialize, to meet other people. And because of the pandemic, you might not have gotten to build some of the friendships and relationships that you're looking for. And now you will be overexposed and it'll be a little harder to navigate all of these things you're coming into. But the rules apply. Am I valuable? Am I going to treat myself as valuable? Am I going to make sure that others treat me as something that is valuable? But I have to have that value in myself. I have to believe that I am important. I am worthy just by being me. I don't have to do anything extra to be worthy. I don't have to be anything extra just to be worthy. I don't have to show anything extra just to be worthy. I am worthy. Do you have what it takes to find out how worthy I am? My friends, and Sionne will know this because Sionne is one of my very good friends. She knows that I will disagree with anybody. Anybody, I will disagree. Because while I might not always be right, I try to stand up for the right thing. And the right thing is not always the popular thing. In terms of picking your friends, listen, if you see your friends doing things to people that you wouldn't want people doing to you, you need to draw a line. If you seeing a guy talking to a taxi driver, a school teacher, the lady in the canteen, if you see how he speaks to her and you don't like it, or him, and you don't like it, well, bet your bottom dollar sooner or later he will talk to you like that. If you see him kick a dog, a poor defenseless animal, then know to yourself, but wait, this man might be advantageous. This guy might be advantageous. He might have anger issues. He might be a really great guy and have anger issues. What I'm saying is something could be more than one thing at the same time. So even if somebody treats you well, but then they treat other people badly, you have to look at the fact that they also treat other people badly. And if I'm associating with this person, if I'm associating with this group, if I'm associating with these friends, then I'm one of those people who treat people badly. I'm not saying you have to run out being Captain Justice and trying to fix everything that everybody is doing. What I'm saying is know what your value is so that you will see when things don't line up with your value. And I'm gonna tell you, it's real hard to have to say this. People change around you. They will be your best friend And if the circumstances change, they might not treat you like their best friend. They might like you today and love you tomorrow, and that could change the next day too. You have to be constant because people change. My value has to remain my value because the people around me may not be in the right place to recognize my value. I can't trust that what my friends say or strangers say, or my boyfriend or my girlfriend or my mother or my father, I can't trust that what someone says about me is the truth about me. So I have to know what the truth about me is. I loved Maria's question. If you could only do one thing for the rest of your life, what is the thing that you would do? If this is the thing that you were designed for, I will tell you, I am a 40-year-old inner child, because when I was younger, all I wanted to do was write, draw, color, and play with Lego. That's all I wanted to do. I was creative. And then somewhere along the way, I forgot that that's who I am. And then I found it back. I know I'm a graphic artist. I make podcasts. I do video editing. I design logos. All I do, I talk a lot, but all I do now is write, draw, color, and create things. That is who I am. That is who I am. My value isn't in the things that I do, is in who I am. Find your value so that when things change around you, you don't have to worry about what your value is. It might be a boyfriend, it might be a best friend, it might be a group, it might even be a family. Oh, thanks, Deborah. But know your value. Always be yourself. Yes, Angela, be yourself. But being yourself doesn't mean, well, this is how I am, so this is what you have to take. This is what you have to deal with. I would lean into that a little bit and say, be your best self. Because we might be more than one thing. We might be good and have issues. So we have to acknowledge that the same measure we have for other people, we have to measure ourselves. So try to be your best self. Yes, princess, change for the better. Change for the better, right? At the end of the day, I don't have to get anybody to approve of me. Let me make sure I approve of me. And then other people will be asking for my approval instead of me trying to get other people's approval. Whether it's a friend, whether it's a best friend, whether it's a boyfriend, whether it's a parent, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a coach. Because I want to wrap up, but very quickly, I want you to understand something with relationships. Relationships isn't just about dating. It isn't just about friends. It might be a family relationship. It could be a work relationship. It could be a class relationship. It could be the relationship you have in the 2 minutes that you stand up on the taxi stand. What I mean is you're going to engage with a lot of different types of people. So I love what Sion said as well about being able to read the dynamic, about being able to look at things that people are doing. Ooh, Jenny, I actually like that point a lot. Don't bank on one person to be your friend. Have multiple friends. Now that is good. Nowadays, music will tell you about no new friends and keeping a small circle and all of those things. I hear that, but that could also lead to something that maybe in a session later on we'll talk about, like codependency. Or you could lose your identity if you only align yourself with one person or one thing. If all I care about, the only thing that matters to me is swimming. All I like to do is swimming. If it's not swimming, don't talk to me. If it's not swimming, I don't want to hear it. And then the pool closed. It have sea moss, seaweed or jellyfish in the beach and I can't go in the water. What happens when the only thing I know, and care about is not available? We'll feel lost. So we just have to make sure we don't turn the friendship, the relationship, even the career, make sure we don't turn that into the one thing. My value is in who I am. My values in who I am. It will express itself in different ways, and we have to be willing to allow it to express in different ways. So in terms of all of this, the bottom line will be, do you know your value? It's easy to tell people you have to have values and make sure to line up with your values, but what are your values? I don't know about all of you, but I am not a dollar. I'm more like a billion in the making. So I have to treat myself like a billion in the making. If I have a book bag full of money, I am going to move very differently as if I don't have anything on me at all. I'm going to carry my value very differently. If I have $10, I will leave it in my wallet. If I have $1 million, I might want to put that in a bank. I might want to put that in a vault. I might want to put that in one of those briefcases to see them handcuffed to your wrist in the action movies. The fact is, I will treat my value differently because I have to protect it differently. Ladies, you are the value you have to protect. I'm not saying the whole world is a big bad wolf. We might be the big bad wolf to some people. Our job is to make sure that in our value, we add value, we demand value, we reflect value. Anyway, I already talked way longer than I planned on talking. But in terms of dating and relationships, find your value so nobody else have to tell you what it is. I think I already gone off there. Simone, this all yours, all yours.
Thanks so much, Ricardo. So much words of wisdom. And just like sapphires, rubies, diamonds, they are precious gems, these young ladies, and they have to value themselves. Young ladies, we plead with you, please value yourself. Please know how valuable you are. You are like precious gems, okay? And we'd like you to treat yourself that way, okay? And have others treat you that way, okay? Demand your respect and show respect to yourself by the way that you move, by your actions, your words, by the way that you treat yourself, okay? And others will do the same, okay? If they don't, well, you'll have to demand that. So I just want to read, Ariana said, you made the right decision when you picked the hardest and most painful choice, but your heart is at peace. And sometimes, you know, you have to choose to make decisions that may be difficult, but your heart is at peace. So thanks so much for that, Ariana, because you need your heart to be at peace. Okay, don't stay in a situation where you're not at peace. You know within your heart, within your mind that you're unsettled, it's not right, but you're just, you know, settling for it because, you know, that's what it is at the moment. And you're thinking that you don't have a choice. You always have a choice, okay? And you have to choose to be the best that you can be. Okay, if you can't choose that for yourself, nobody else is going to choose it for you. That's on you, okay? So guys, it's been a really wonderful session, lots of information. We'd like to leave the floor open for a few minutes for any of the girls, any comments or questions?
All I could say, Yathalia Philchas from St. Lucia, all I could say, very, very good session. I mean, y'all nailed it. The advice that you give to the children on how to date, talking to their parents, watching their peers. Lady and gent, y'all did a wonderful job. And I hope you ladies listened and you took notes so that you could put it into practice. It makes no sense that they come here and they give all that information and then tomorrow you're like, okay, I never knew that, I never knew that. They gave you from a male perspective and a lady's perspective, a parent perspective also. So I hope that you understood what was said. If you do not, now it's time to ask questions to get anything that you did not understand clarified. So please ask the questions. Wonderful session today. I wish I had that when I was your age. We would have made less mistakes, right, Simone?
Yes, sure. Right.
I wish we had that. Okay, so yes. I mean, you get it. So keep it, learn it, use it, absorb it, do whatever you have to do, but use it. Great tools. Thank you, people. I wish I had a girl here, my own child. Yeah, but Ariane is there. I hope she's taking note because I'll be keeping her in check to see if she's following it.
Yes. Thanks, Italia. Very valuable information. Come on, ladies, any questions? Now is the time.
Actually, I might have a question, and is the one of the first questions that Maria asked. I want to ask Sion. Sion, what is this thing? What is this thing that you would do for the rest of your life if you could only do one thing?
I think I'm already doing one of the things. I have two things that I would do for the rest of my life. And I'm doing one already. I love to teach. I feel alive in my classroom. I love my students. I feel lucky that I found that thing. And the other thing is I love to comb hair. I love anything to do with plaited, braided. So when I think of what I would do for the rest of my life, it will probably be that. That's the other thing. Reaching out to people, interacting, teaching on that level, and yeah, women here, love here.
Thanks so much, Sion.
You know, back in the day when I had hair long enough to comb and cane row. Listen, long hair. I used to chew on the end of my hair, all kind of thing, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah. I used to comb Ziggy and then all them fellows here back in the day.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Nice.
And I'm sure now nobody have hair to comb, is it?
Nobody.
I'm stranger.
I see a beautiful question from Ariana in the chat. It says, if you made a bad choice but do not know it was a bad choice, what do you do?
Very interesting question.
Yeah, deep, provoking question.
If you don't know you made a bad choice, I think sometimes deep down, the fact that she's questioning, you don't know you make a bad choice, it means you have doubts about the choice that you made. That's just my opinion. You have some doubts. And if you have doubts about the choice, then sometimes you really know it in your heart, that wasn't probably the best choice, and you just have to follow your instinct. A lot of times, I think as women, we doubt our instincts. We're getting that instinct now, the situation not looking good. This not looking like the right type of, person to be around. And you still make decisions to pursue or to go ahead with that maybe relationship or to go ahead and go out on that date when you're thinking now the situation not looking right. And it wasn't a right choice because something in the back of your mind telling you, no, this isn't looking, and you're getting that vibes, but you still go against it. And then the thing, it turns out in a particular way and you say, oh gosh, if I had only listened, I was getting that instinct, something wasn't right. So you realize eventually that, yeah, it was a bad choice. And all you have to do is now, you can't beat up yourself about it. You just have to think now, and that's adopting the growth mindset. What now can I do? How can I learn and do something different? What can I learn from the situation and how can I do this differently, next time? So it's about lessons being learned, basically. I don't know if anybody else wants to chip in with this one.
I think I want to mention something because I was just saying, Simone, there are instances where you really, really don't know. And let me give you an example of counsel a friend of mine told me about. She told me a teenager around 13, 14 came to her one day and said to her, my mom is angry with me because I am attracted to this other woman. However, I had a relationship with my mom because my mom told me that I must have a relationship with her that means a sexual relationship she had with her mom, in order to be able to have a relationship with a man. That's what she told the counselor because she thought she was doing the right thing. But now she's seen another person, a woman, and she's attracted to the woman, and her mother is angry with her. And she goes to the counselor, not because she thought what she was doing is wrong or what she thought her mother was doing to her is wrong, because she thought that, because she's attracted to somebody else, her mother is upset with her. What should she do? So that situation here, your parent is doing something wrong to you, but making you believe it is right. You believe it is right. And you have no idea it is wrong until you get to that counselor and she's telling you you are being abused as a child,
Thanks. Yeah, that's so true. Sometimes you're in situations, as a young child being naive and not knowing. And if you have the wrong example set in front of you, you take that as, the correct thing. So that's clearly a very good example of the type of situation you can get yourself in.
I would like to add as well, Simone, if I may. I think that it's important for everybody to understand that making a bad choice or making mistakes is human nature. You should try to avoid mistakes. You should try to avoid making a bad choice and trust your instincts. But if you do, it's human nature. So you should not beat yourself up about it. It's something that's happened. It's most of the times something you can't change. You might be able to do something to change the outcome a little bit, but you can't change a choice you already made. You can't change something you already did. So stop beating yourself up about it would be the first thing. The second thing would be make sure that you learn the lesson, because when you realize that it's a bad choice, or it's something that you've done that wasn't the right thing, that means you're already past the stage when you learn what the right thing would be. Make sure that in the future, when you get into a similar situation, that you recognize what would be the right choice, that you learned from the mistake in the past. And the final thing would be, if it's something small or big, talk about it. Talk about it with people you trust, whether it is your parents, whether it is close friends. Talk about the situation, because it's often also the case that something bad happened, that you did something that wasn't the right thing, and it's in your mind and it's so big and you feel so guilty about it. But sometimes when you talk about it, you get to understand that either it wasn't so big, or you get to the part where you can forgive yourself for making that mistake. So that those are three things that I would do when I made a bad decision or when I did something that wasn't right.
Thanks very much for those words, wisdom, Rubia. So true.
Yes, she answered the question. Thank you. I got tripped out of the chat. Sorry about that. Yes, but thanks for answering. Yes, that was very good points. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if Maria would like to take a swing at that question, or if there's something else that she might want to add.
No, I think the ladies said it, because when the question came up, what got me was, if I don't know if it's wrong, that part of it, because you can make a mistake and you're aware it's wrong, and as Ruby, I believe it was said just now, the worst thing you could do is linger in guilt, because you're not helping yourself or a situation if you stay in that pit of guilt. Recognize it was wrong and then do what you can to make an effort to not repeat that mistake. But with regard to that point that the student said, if I don't know if it's wrong, I think it's to Simone's response when she said, that's when you have to really be in tune with yourself to know that, hey, I made a decision. And if I feel a spirit of, like within myself, I'm not at peace, I know something is off, and it could be a decision like to choose a job. When you graduate from school and you have job opportunities and maybe you're not getting through with anything and you just take something, you take a job, whatever it is, and within yourself, you're feeling a bit off and you know something is a bit wrong here. That tells me, hey, Maria, check this. What is wrong? And it keeps playing on your mind. You feel uneasy. That is how I recognize within myself that maybe this may not have been the right choice. But once I get that, what can I do to rectify this? What can I do to return to a state of peace and not have to, and hopefully not go down that road again? So it's two things. One, work on yourself, understand who you are, understand how what you stand for, what you do not stand for. And then once you start really and truly actively, and this comes with time, girls, so don't beat up yourself, it comes with time. Once you start working on yourself and understanding yourself, understanding your mind, understanding what you stand for, your values, as Ricardo said, then you will get to that point where quicker and quicker you know what you do that's right and what you do that's wrong, because it registers in yourself, it registers in your mind, And then, as Rubia says, we are human. We're going to go through this whole life journey and we're not ever going to be perfect. Do not beat up yourself, right? Mistakes happen. We all fall off the wagon. If it's somebody that you hurt, own up to it, be accountable. And that is a problem I think a lot of people have. They're not accountable and they don't They don't say sorry, they don't apologize, you know, don't be like that. It takes a lot of humility to be somebody who's accountable and owns up to their mistakes, own up to it, and then move forward. Try again, and you may fall again, but that just keep trying. That is life. That's what I would say, Ricardo.
Yeah, that was excellent because you brought that accountability part. Listen, that is my bag. That is my
Yeah.
whole bag right there. Accountability, because personal accountability, accountability within a community, and ultimately accountability to God. But that's another convo for another day.
Yes.
I would like to take a quick swing at responding to that question because I think there are three I's that we could use. The way to move forward is with these three I's, and Simone had the first one, which was your intuition, your instincts, right? You have an internal compass that lets you know when something has compromised your peace. A lot of the times people suppress the feelings or suppress the instincts, but your instincts and your intuition is a really good internal compass. The second thing is information, because the more you learn about a situation is the better equipped you are to navigate that situation. You might see a behavior that changes. You might see a behavior that changes the way you view something. Somebody was treating you well all the time, and then they don't treat you well. You have new information, right? You go into a job and then you realize, or you go to a class and you realize, wait a minute, this might be the wrong class or the wrong lesson. This might be the wrong job. You have new information. A mistake is actually an information gathering process, right? Sometimes you end up going down the places, you go down the wrong roads so that you learn that they are the wrong roads. Everybody talks about being a trailblazer and everybody talks about finding your way, but nobody realizes that to blaze a trail, you have to go through bush. People don't talk about the fact that finding your way usually involves a lot of getting lost. So I also love that fact where you have to, give yourself some grace and give yourself permission to learn from the thing that you went through. The third thing, so we have intuition and instinct, which is one, information, which is two, which is also experience, and three, introspection. By looking at yourself honestly, you could see what role you have in what happened so that you might not make the mistake again. We're not saying the thing might not happen, but now you would have learned, hey, this is where I did something that contributed to this, and I could do better. Maybe I could demand better. Maybe I could express better. But what was my role in that situation? What can I take away from it? Because we can't control everything else, but we could learn enough about ourselves to control the things that we can control. So I think it's a combination of all of the elements. What is my personal responsibility? What is my instinct telling me? And what do I know about this? So good there. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Ricardo. That is so true. Very, very helpful tips there. I hope you guys are taking notes so that you can refer to in your journey forward. It is a learning experience and a life journey. You won't get everything at once, but as you go along the way, you learn from your experiences, you learn from the people around you, and you adjust. Okay, so it's important not to beat up yourself if you make a mistake, but to learn and to adjust and have a growth mindset. Okay?
I made a mistake. I forgot when I was unmuting that I was actually going to read out in Kennerim's question.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, she asked, how do you convince your parents without sounding rude? And that is a really big deal because sometimes we have to have conversations with our guardians and elders who so sure they know that they don't give us a chance to say what we're feeling or going through or believe. So I don't know if you all want to take a swing at that and then we could go into Deborah leading us out in some mindfulness and well-being.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm having thunder, lightning, all sorts of crazy things going on weather-wise here. It is crazy. I'm looking out and see it. Anyway, so like I said, I think, I don't know if she was speaking specifically about thing or generally speaking to parents about difficult stuff keep in mind that it might be hard, but parents issues and hang-ups and anxieties about certain topics. They dread having to broach certain topics. And so I think it's what you're asking is related to communication, basic communication, right? And so the idea, the topic, and the point in your life at which you reach to discuss in dating actually is now going to draw on everything you've learned and everything you've prepared yourself for in terms of communicating with other people.
Sionne, we aren't hearing you.
I think we just lost Sionne to the weather.
Yeah, we're not hearing you, Sionne.
Yeah, I think that's.
Hello.
Oh, yeah, Sionne, we think we may have lost you to the weather for an instant there.
All right, but you're hearing me now?
Yeah.
Right. So my thing is, you're drawing on skills that you would have built all along, and you should have been working on all along. And it's never too late to build a certain rapport with your parents. And so that when it's time to have hard conversations, certain things are already in place. So I think that what your problems again, I see in shadow expression. Oh, okay, cool.
No, go ahead, we hear you.
Right. So I think what you need to do is not be afraid to approach, but of course you're looking at your tone, you're looking at introducing, starting with the fact that mom, dad, this is difficult. I feel know how to come and talk about it, but I want to talk to you. And I know that you want me to reach out. So I know this might be hard for us, but I want to talk to you about it. So giving your parents the indication that you're making a choice, and you're making a choice to come to them, whereas you could go to other people, you could, but you're choosing, and that it's a hard thing for you to do. You're leveling in a way, and you're being very honest, and you're starting on that. You're starting on, this is hard. I don't want to be rude or sound rude, but I need some information. I want to talk to you about so and so. I don't think this might be fair. Could you explain your side of it? And approaching in that kind of humble and a way that you want to build rather than break, right? So your tone and your approach is very important when trying to have difficult conversations with your parents, but you must have them. So I think you have to start with telling yourself that it's something that has to be done, and using all your skills of communication, in terms of being polite, being respectful, and trying to get into it from a very humble, open place as well. I don't know if anybody else wants to add to that.
Okay, morning.
I'll just say one quick thing. Yeah. And this goes beyond just your parents. It goes to relationships of every kind at school and when you get into the workplace as well. Try your best as much as possible. If you are emotional or angry or in not a good headspace, to not communicate with all that emotion going on. Try to calm down first, step away. It is very hard, but it's the most rewarding thing. And I've seen people who have not learned this, big people who have not yet learned this, and they communicate and then they regret. And I like the fact that you asked, but usually with respect without sounding rude or whatever. That means you want to respect your parents. And things happen. Sometimes your parents aggravate you, they annoy you, but they are your parents. You have to be respectful of them because that's your first, for many of us, our first points of call before the world around us. And how we respond to our parents, how we respond to our siblings, is how we will, translate ourselves to the wider world. And so I would say practice now calming down, stepping away before you respond. And when you enter into the world of work as well, it could be like a boss could annoy you. And your first instinct, you may be right, the boss may be wrong. And your first instinct may be to fire back an email at them. And that is there written down for posterity against you. No, step away, breathe. I understand we're going to do some exercises after. These things are built in to help you. And these things were not available to me when I was growing up, things I had to learn in my later life. But it's so integral Because when you respond in a space where you are not in control, things go awry, and the ramifications may be not in your favor. So I would say step back if you're in that mind space. Calm down, step away, do something that's constructive, that helps you. If you're going in a quiet place and like Ricardo, do some Lego, or watch a show on Netflix, something that calms you down. Watch a little funny video or something on YouTube. And then when you're in a better space of mind, broach it. As Sionne said, it has to be broached. Some things you have to talk about, but to avoid being disrespectful, avoid being rude, you have to get into that space of control. And that helps when you step away and breathe. I know there are times when you have to address things right away. For me, I'll just be praying in my mind, hopefully. And some things you don't have to communicate. And if it comes across rude, but it has to be communicated. Like I had an experience recently where I had to communicate something with somebody and it came across a bit rougher than I wanted, but I had to say it. And I apologized to the person for the way I communicated it, but I didn't apologize for what I said. It had to be said. And that it speaks to, we make mistakes, but for the most part, if you can't step away, calm down, and then broach it. That'll be my 2 cents. Yeah.
Thanks, Maria. We have Marilyn.
And could I just also add, prepare yourself for the conversation, which ties into what Maria said. If you step away, you also give yourself some time to think through, what are my points? What are the strong things that I'm leading with to convince or to explain? And so you don't go into difficult conversations unprepared. And of course, that's a life lesson as well. So like I said, dating and venturing into dating really prepares you. There's so many opportunities to build skills that help you even beyond the aspect of getting to date or to get certain permissions, etc. The entire process of dating helps you to build life skills that as you grow older, you use those same things in your wider life, your other relationships. Yeah?
So true. We have Marilyn.
Yeah. For me, I have some teenagers, grandchildren, and they prefer to talk to me before they talk to the parents. I feel the parents don't really answer the children them correct. So when I answer the children them, and they ask me, "Mommy, but why you tell them about that situation?" Or I explain to them. So I think a lot of young parents don't want to be straightforward with the children, and they don't want to listen to the children. My grandchildren, I have 16, a 12 year and a 14 years. And a lot of times they come to me with some questions. And when I answer, the parents them get to understand that I answer the children or tell them, they quarrel. So we can't work with the children alone. We gotta work also with the parents, because a lot of times the parents them don't understand, they don't have time to listen and so forth. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Marilyn. That is so key. That is so key. A lot of truth in that. Sometimes it's the way parents, younger parents may approach the topic or not wanting to speak about it, etc. But I'm so glad we're having this forum so that, even though the parents may not be speaking about certain things, the youngers could get to at least, an introduction to the topic. And be able to bring it up with their parents at another, point in time in a respectful, manner. So that's very important, Marilyn. Michele, you want to chime in there on this? I really agree with Marilyn's point there.
Marilyn just mash up the whole show there. As far as I'm concerned, she dropped the mic and bust a hole in the stage, because we could tell these young ladies the best. And then when they have to deal with the parents didn't hear what we were saying. So in terms of parents don't realize yet that through their children, they are healing from things that they pick up along the way. I don't think enough parents understand how much they get to learn from dealing with their kids. So they address their kids purely as authority figures, as opposed to realizing that they are some co-worker elements of the dynamic. It's not just younger parents, is older parents, because the older parents figure out they've been through it all and they know the road too. But parents need to be as receptive in communication as they transmit. And they also have to understand that if they aren't willing to learn from their kids, the odds are a retirement home will teach them. Plain talk, bad manners. If you raise adults who feel like they cannot communicate with you, you can't vex when you're in your 50s, your 60s, your 70s, and your children don't want to talk to you. You taught them that they can't talk to you. But that's another session for another age group. Someone, maybe we could move into some more mature empowerment programs going forward. But yeah,
that is
Marilyn,
so true.
Marilyn, win it for me today. So, sorry everybody, but Marilyn, I love that point.
Very important point there. That could be a whole other session.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other program.
Other program. So yes, that's so true. That's so important to tell you that we probably need to engage, the parents as well. Some of the topics we really need to engage the parents, and we will have an upcoming topic where we will engage the parents as well because of the sensitivity of the topic. So we will let you know in the very near future. Okay, so guys, I want to open the floor. We don't have time for breakout rooms today, but I promise you next week, please, we will have the breakout room session. You will get to meet and greet each other and ask questions and interact in a smaller group. Please feel free, now is the time. If you have any questions or comments about this topic, please, now is the time. Just unmute your mics. And after that, we'll move into the mental health check-in session with Deborah, where we'll do a little bit of just see how you're feeling and a little bit of activity to kind of spruce you up. So the floor is now open, guys.
Well, in the meantime, they're thinking, I just want to say this has been a very vibrant, dynamic, inspiring session. Thank you, Sionne. Thank you, Maria, Ricardo, Simone. It has been amazing. Nothing else, Marlene, it has been amazing. And I'm learning so much. I'm 51, but I'm learning so much. I've never heard of Vex Money, but I know of it. I never knew it was called that. And but I'm learning. Every day I'm learning, and it's just so amazing when you open, to learning. You can take in so much and become even better version of yourself. But I like to share. I want to share something very personal with you that we're talking about relationship. About 20 years ago, I was devastated. My heart was broken, ripped into pieces. I was in love with this guy. It was like 2 months into the dating relationship. I said, that's it. He's the one for me. I texted my cousin and said, get your heart ready. I'm going to marry this guy. Because I don't like the dating game. And when I knew, I knew. And then we came on holiday, and then he went back. We went back, and then he just decided, okay, he's going to go back to his ex-girlfriend, whatever. I was devastated. I did not go to work. The phone was ringing. I didn't know what the word depression was, but I was depressed. I never knew at that time that I was depressed. I wasn't receiving phone calls. I know some of the young people here, they might have experienced it, or probably is when you fall down, how do you get up back? That's why I'm sharing this story. You look at me, you will never think. In Dominica, we say go well. Go well is you have a broken heart. So basically, I was not answering the call. I was depressed. And then what happened? I just decided to move out of the area. So I cannot see that person again. I moved out completely the area, got another job. I got fired from that job because I did not turn up to work. And then I got another job, rekindled my life and stuff. And then basically that person, I was just getting ready. I was living in the UK at the time. And then we were still communicating, me and this person. And I said to him, I'm going to go to Africa because I think maybe that's where my husband, future husband is. I'm going to venture out and, go to Africa. And he said to me, well, before that, he had a party and invited me to this party. And then we had all these mutual friends. And, I really picked myself up. I went on cruises, really, was really shining. And then his girlfriend at the time was a mutual friend of mine. And it was quite interesting. She was on the same speed dating because I was now single and his girlfriend was on a speed dating. So I'm like, karma is, look at this. I'm laughing at him now. I'm like, serve you right. serve you right. So anyway, boy, and then after I just said, okay, I'm going to go to South Africa at the time, because I did IT and I could go ahead in there and stuff. So to make a long story short, he said to me, well, I'm going to Dominica and I want to marry you. So I said, well, you go to Dominica, you come in from the UK, you have a lot of pounds and ounces, you'll be hot stuff, So to cut a long story short, I said yes. And we've been together 18 years now. So here am I, celebrating 18 years of marriage through thick and things. So my husband broke my heart and we came back together, and so that's a little story to share. But how I really survived it, and really by because he was saying to me, well, you can be my friend still, but I'm like, no, I value myself. I don't want to just have a casual relationship. I really value myself. I know my worth. You understand? If you don't want a serious relationship, then you just forget about it. I want to marry, I want to settle down, and I wasn't having anything else. And I determined, to find myself a decent man who will respect me and value me for who I am. So that's why I think I want to share that story with you. And Ricardo, you did mention, I think Sionne did mention too, about having your value aligned with the person who you want to be with. And with him, like, I love gardening, but you kind of get him to hold a cutlass, but that's okay. You can give and take. But like in the morning, he was like, come on, let's go for a walk, like 6 o'clock. He goes religiously for a walk. So I like that. I like the sports and the outdoors. So you have to give and take. So we have most of the things we have in common, and then we'll have a few that we don't have in common, but things that I love. He won't love everything, but it helps. And it's really good to have a little bit difference sometimes in some of the areas. All right, so I just thought I will share that little personal information with you. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Deborah. So many important lessons, standing up for, your value and what you believe in. And it just goes to show that what is for you is for you. So even though it looked as though it wasn't working out in the beginning, things took, they turned for the worse, etc. Eventually it had to be, because it was for you. So I think that's really, really, a story to demonstrate that, we don't need to run and push and force something, that what God has for you, it will come. So wonderful. It's great to hear these happy endings, Lovely, guys. Anybody else wants to make a comment or share anything before we move into the mental health checkup? We'll close off. Going once, going twice. Okay, well, let's let Deborah take over, and we're going into the checkup, mental health checkup at this point in time, to see how you guys feeling. If there's anything you want to share with regards to how you're feeling, etc., and let's do a little exercise. So over to you, Deborah.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Claxton. So how's everybody feeling today?
Good.
Everybody feeling good. Okay, so basically, we're going to look at the weather, and we're going to associate, like today is cloudy. And, when it's cloudy, we feel a little bit down, or is it sunny, or you feel a little bit stormy and a little bit raining, or dark, the weather is dark. So just think in your mind, the symbol relating to the weather, how you're feeling. You can just type it in the chat. If it's sunny, stormy, or rainy, you can just, or say it. Sunny means you're feeling vibrant and you're at a place that you want to be. And stormy means you're dealing with something, you're not sure, you're in some stormy water, and you're not sure what's happening. You're having some challenges that you're trying to iron out. Okay, I see Sameja saying she's a little bit cloudy. Okay. Sunny, Rochelle, it's sunny where Rochelle is at the moment. Very good. We're getting a few sunny. Excellent. Excellent. So is anybody else feeling stormy? Yes, a little bit sunny and cloudy, a little bit of a mixed emotion. Yeah, Yeah, it happens sometimes, you know, you can be feeling anxious about something, you have something to do, but you know, and then at the same time you're feeling sunny, but a little bit stormy. So you can have a little bit of a mixed emotion and mixed moments. So that's okay. That's perfectly okay. Yeah. Because one of the things is that I like to teach, I look at nature. You know, us in Dominica, we came face to face with nature. I don't know if some of you can recall 2015, we had Hurricane Erika, which personally impacted me. And then 2017, we had Hurricane Maria. Most of you would have remembered Category 5 in Dominica, Hurricane Maria. And then roll on by the pandemics. Between the space of 2 years and 6 years, you know, we have had 3 major catastrophes directly impacting us in Dominica. So I looked at this whole thing, and I noticed a lot of people were just dying and from the impact of the storm. And then I look at it and develop like a routine to release emotionally, emotional freedom technique, it's called. And so you can do that little practice. I'm going to give you a little snippet of it because we just running out of time. So I just said I observe nature, and nature teaches us exactly what we need to know. And one of the things about nature is the sun. The sun. What do you think the sun can teach us? Anybody, just unmute. This is an interactive session. What do you think the sun can teach us? The sun is bright. Yeah. Every morning, what the sun does it?
It shines bright like a diamond.
The sun shines bright like a diamond. And all of you are diamonds. Yeah. All of you are diamonds. Yeah. And so basically the sun every morning, it rises. It doesn't like me when I was feeling depressed, just lie in bed and put a sheet over my head. Religiously, the sun rises every morning, roughly about the same time, and then it sets. So the sun teaches us that every day is a new day, a brand new day to start again, to try something new, a brand new day. Every day you wake up, you say, thank you, Spirit of Life, for this brand new, never before lived day, a day to try something and do something differently. And then the other element of nature I like is the moon. In the moon. So I have a group here in Dominica around the full moon time. We'll go into the sulfur spring and we'll do a full moon ceremony around the moon. It's very powerful. But the moon teaches us, anybody can tell me what the moon teaches us? What would you learn from the moon? Anyone? Sionne, you look as though you might know the answer. What do you think the moon you can learn from the moon?
I think the moon teaches us seasons and phases. Yeah.
Very good. Excellent. Excellent. Spot on. And how would you apply that to, oh, there's someone to say something. Go on, Odessa, unmute your mic.
It's teaching us all about life and life situates.
Very good. Excellent. That's a key word I'm looking for. Situation. Yeah. And what I want to tell you, the big message I want to leave with you here today, that every situation changes, good or bad. It changes, good or bad. You know, one moment you can be blissfully happy on a beach, you know, having, you know, the time of your life, but that situation will change. It's when you have to go back, you know, and do your SBAs and do blah, 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 and do whatever. So every situation, maybe one day you're down and you're miserable, but you know what? It won't last forever. That's what the moon teaches you, that there's, in life, you have seasons, you have phases. So I don't want to take too much long on the teaching. And we're going to have to go into the practical aspect of the exercise to get you guys moving. And how is your shoulder doing? How are you doing in the shoulders? Yeah. Are you up here like this? Like, what's the shoulder doing? Let's, you know, because what I do, I am a stress therapist and I teach people how to de-stress themselves and how to be happy. I'm the happiness coach. And so just relax those shoulders. Let the shoulder move down from the air, you know. Yeah. You turn the neck, look out, far up, turn it back. Inhale, exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Back to center. Do one or two of this on your own. Inhale. And then exhale. You look out. Okay. So how was that little exercise for your neck and the shoulder? You just roll the shoulder back. We hold a lot of tension in our shoulders, a lot of tension in the shoulders. All right. So now we get our shoulder loose, the neck a little bit loose. I'm going to show you something. And base my practice. One aspect of my practice is called the greatest haka ever. If I may share my screen so that you can get a little idea of the practice. Wow.
Very interesting.
I watched it so much time and I always loved it. So, so you don't want to be up against these people, right? So what I do, I create a little dance around that sort of energy kind of thing. It says, I am very blessed, so very blessed. No person, place, or thing shall define me. And then you do the haka around that, you know, because it could be somebody just trying to tell you you're an idiot, or you just had a result that you did not want. You got a C and you wanted an A, so you go around the back, nobody can see you, and you just, you know, psych yourself up, get, you know, yourself back into the groove. Yeah. So you want everybody just stand up and we can try it.
Right, ladies, now it's time to get off your seats. You can place your cameras on.
Yeah, just get up and shake a little bit.
Yeah, place your cameras on if you can, if you have permission to.
Come on, this is fun. Enjoy.
Time to get off your seats.
Find the joy and magic of every moment. All we have is now. This is it.
Yeah, get off your seats, ladies.
This is what all we have is now. Come on, guys, make the most of it. Y'all ready? I see Ricardo ready. Good boy.
I'm not seeing any of these ladies here. Huh.
Yeah.
Come on, ladies.
I see you already. Yes. Yes. Okay. Just put it. Yes. Very good. We've seen them coming on. Come on, guys. Yes. Yes. We're brave. We're peaceful warriors. Put on those cameras. I want to see everybody. Come on. This is all we have is this moment. Come on, Donna, you up? You ready? Come on, let's rotate those shoulders back and get that power stand. Yeah, we standing powerful and tall. This is called the mountain pose. Yeah, the abs is nice and tight, tucked in. The shoulder is back. Yeah, the feet is just slightly hip width apart. You're standing nice and strong. If somebody to push you, you just, you know, they cannot touch you. They cannot push you over because you're nice and strong. And then you do a slight squatting. Yeah. You're getting ready. You're doing a slight squatting. Yes? Come on. As I count 1, 2, 3. I am very blessed. So very blessed. No person, place, or thing shall define me. Yay! Yay! Yes. Yes. Okay, let's do it one more time. Come on, let's get into it. Yeah, come on. I am very blessed. So very blessed. No person, place, or thing shall define me. Yay! Yeah! Woo! Excellent. Bring your hands Sit down, bring your hand into your heart center. Close your eyes. Wow. What do you feel? Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, new and vital. Exhale, stale and useless. Inhale, courage. Exhale, fear. Inhale, peace. Exhale, stress. Inhale, outrageous love. Exhale, gratitude. Inhale, deeply hold it, and exhale. One more time, big inhale, and exhale. Slowly open the eye, release the hands, shake out the neck, bring your hand into prayer, giving thanks. Excellent. So how's everybody feeling now?
Better.
Good.
Energized.
Come on, unmute your mic and tell me how was that little practice. I know I only had a little 5 minutes for you guys. How are you feeling now? I can see some smile. There's this smiling.
Real good.
Smiling.
Good.
Energetic.
You're feeling energetic.
Odessa did a great job. She's really enjoying it.
Very good.
Sionne and Kendra doing their stuff.
Yes. Excellent, excellent. So that's just a little snippet of what I do. Something to put in your happiness toolkit, you know. You can just take that with you and just pull that out when the time is right, you know. So hopefully in the next follow-up to the next session, I will do some emotional freedom technique. You just do some body tapping and different ones that you can take with you as the time comes. Pull out. Pleasure indeed.
We can do this again. We can do this again next week. I think
you want more? You sure?
Oh, yes, definitely.
I want to see everybody turn on the screen and really move.
Yes. Next week we'll have everybody turning on the screen and we'll do that exercise again, plus the body tapping. So I think this is really, really important, you know, various techniques to bring us into that positive state of mind.
Because you know what to do, but how to do it. How do you get your body into the moment? How do you actually do it? And that is the key, because there's a lot of information about how to actually release emotionally, because we have so much pent up, you know, emotions, and, you know, we need to deal with, and then, you know, to get flowing. Even you can just stop and pause, you know, during the day several times and do some, you know, simple movement of the neck, and, you know, and some breath work several times of the day, you know, to help the body and your mind and the spirit.
Yeah, I think these coping techniques are so important now, because, you know, there's so much adversity and stress around us. So we really need to keep ourselves, you know, in that positive flow of energy. That was wonderful, Deborah. Thanks so much.
Pleasure. Yeah. Welcome. But I must say the stress is good, because that is what helps us to be diamonds, because look what a diamond has to go through to become a diamond. You know, high pressure, high intensity, you know, so we're all diamonds, ladies. You don't forget that. You are a diamond. Beautiful diamond.
Stone.
A precious stone. All right,
a wonderful session. Thanks so much, Deborah. Thank you, everyone, for contributing.
Pleasure.
Sionne, Maria, Ricardo. Any closing remarks as we close off, Ricardo?
I just want to echo the thanks. Sionne, Maria, Utalia for contribution, Deborah, Rubia, Marilyn. Really hoping I didn't leave out anybody. But in terms of those who contributed in the chat, etc., you guys know you're going to see the stuff that you put in the chat popping up in the videos going forward. So don't feel if we didn't call it or we didn't read it out that it's not going to get it airtime. Appreciate you guys. By the way, Diane, I love what looked like breeze blowing on your side. It just make me feel even more relaxed. I appreciate you. Today was a lovely session. I get up and get a little stretch going on. This is what we're talking about. And believe it or not, this little group that we have here, this is relationship too. So thank you guys. Sionne, back to you.
Is it possible
Sionne,
to,
Simone.
that's all right. Is it possible to close off with a couple of the clips from the inspiring
I would
quotes,
like to
or will
say
we leave that for next week?
Sure,
maybe we can, yeah, maybe we can ask the girls what they're taking away from this session, what are they going to use as they're moving forward. You know, I like to hear from the girls, see.
Yes, we can do that.
Yeah.
But let's hear from Diane, and then a couple of girls could say what they've learned from this session, taken away.
Okay, thank you so much, Mom. In reference to Ricardo, what has really touches me, and it is amazing and so much significant, it's to always embrace your values, and also to ask that question, that inner peace, that inner being: am I valuable? Am I worthy? Now, it is very significant today for Ricardo. I must say kudos to you on a male perspective, that you would have reached out and bring out a lot, that if the world, if by your visions and your expression, your experiences, your knowledges that you would reach out or put out to us, could bring many men on board to understand and recognize these attributes where values are concerned. I want to thank you, Ricardo. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Diane.
Thanks so much, Diane. Let's hear from a couple of the girls as we look to close off. What have you taken away from this session? Hi,
Good
Florence.
morning. Yes, what I take away from this session is that you must learn to know your value as a woman, and as you go through some problems, go to your mother, your parent, or somebody you trust and talk to them. And so I also listened to experience that you guys gave, and it really inspired me.
Thank you, Florence. Who's next?
I learned from this session today that you can't trust everybody. You have to figure out people, how they deal with others and the way that they will deal with you. And maybe if they stand up for you, always stand up for you, always there for you, always helping you with difficult things, maybe you can trust that person into being your friend.
Wonderful. Thanks, Shanae. Who's next? We're closing off now, guys. We're just giving you a minute. So unmute your mics. Go ahead, Gabrielle.
I've learned that to have good relationships with your family or friends, you have to learn to talk to them and make sure that they know whenever something is wrong, so that you can fix it, or you have to learn to tell them when you're okay or when you're not okay, and stuff like that.
Thank you, Gabrielle. Who's next?
This is Gabrielle, first time. Welcome, Gabrielle. Gabrielle's from Dominica. Welcome, her first. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
All right, do we have Rihanna next? Some names. Rochelle says, she said that you always have to be mindful of distractions. That's correct, and that you deserve the best. On point, Rochelle. Let's hear from Jade in Turks and Caicos. Turks and Caicos in the house. Hi, Jade.
Hi.
What have you learned in this session?
I learned that if you want to bring up certain topics or sensitive topics to your parent, you must be calm, because a certain change in body language or something can be perceived as disrespectful.
Thank you, Jade. Anybody else?
Can I try?
Ariana, sure.
My name is Ariana Mafflin. I am from Dominica, and I learned that you should always make right choices because along the way, not every time you can fix them.
Oh,
very well. Really should try and make right choices. Not everything you can fix and undo, huh? That's correct.
Well,
There's
Sionne,
consequences.
let me see on a second time I do that, you know. Simone, what I'd like to do is, if it's possible, the girls have homework to do in terms of submitting videos saying the
Yes.
exact type of thing that they're saying right now. So what I'm going to do is play one or two of the submissions that we had of last week's homework as our closeout for the session, and hopefully this will encourage the other girls to
do this.
Yeah, right. But
Inspirational quotes.
I appreciate everyone who's been here with us. We've already gone over time.
boy.
But today was this was a good session. I think we enjoyed it. I'm going to speak less next week. I'm gonna try and talk faster, so we'll stick to the schedule. But it was really good having you here, Sionne, Maria. Thank you so much. Thank everyone. I want to thank everyone for the contributions you've made, and let's keep this thing going. Right? We have what one more Saturday in August, and then we're gonna switch to the monthly program. So, on that note, I'm going to share with you guys from some of the gems themselves what it is they learned so far.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week.
You guys could say your bye.
Your dreams is never easy, really, because, you know, it's going to take work and it's going to take dedication and it's going to take focus and it's going to take drive. But as long as you really love it and you really want it and you keep that laser focus, then nothing is impossible.
Hello everyone, my name is Cameron William. I am 13 years old. I've lived in Trinidad all my life, but I recently moved to the UK. So I'm just going to read some quotes that inspire me. So my first quote is, courage, sacrifice, determination, commitment, toughness, heart, talent, guts. That's what little girls are made of. The heck with sugar and spice. By Bethany Hamilton. My second quote. You cannot allow others, people's opinions, comments, or decisions to affect you, how you feel about yourself. By Zendaya. Third quote. I have standards. I don't plan on lowering them for anybody, including myself. By Zendaya. Fourth quote. Instead of letting your hardships and failures discourage or exhaust you, let them inspire you. Let them make you hungrier to succeed. By Michele Obama. Last quote. You must take action. You must do the impossible, because giving up is never an option. By Greta Thunberg. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Suri and I am from the twin island of Trinidad and Tobago. And a quote I would say that really resonates with me is that so often we don't take chances because we fear failure, and that often boils down to fear of our egos getting hurt. But I want you to remember that failing meant that you were trying, and that is more important than the immediate results.
You guys could say your byes.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, guys. Nice to take care.
Bye-bye, Maria.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Have a great Saturday.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye, Ariane.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Odessa.